in the industry right now. So horrible life.
He really is a fantastic fighter.
Yes. And we'll hopefully he'll get somebody
knocked out a dude with a beard. He's a fantastic fighter.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his next fight. He said it's not until October or November, but I got a feeling somebody's probably going to call him up as soon as he can start making fists and get at least a couple of weeks of training in. If they only gave him 2 weeks' notice for his last fight, looks like they're eager to get him back in the cage. So we'll see if he can hold out for.
For sure. Something that always had bothered me with the UFC, though, is, they let Seth go, and if you look at his record, he probably, shouldn't have been let go. But they bring in guys like Kimbo, and I know it's a publicity thing and stuff like that, but, if you're going to do that with an Ultimate Fighter season, at least, sign Seth Petruzelli at the same time, because he's actually a fighter who deserves to be in the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it from all angles. I believe that was the highest rated season. And the sad part is, I remember, I'm watching it, and you knew he was getting eliminated the first night. He gets eliminated, and yet every single week, not a week goes by that I don't have one friend ask me, "Hey, you think Kimbo's getting back in?" I'm like, "No, he's not. He's done. It's a wrap. It's over." And the whole rest of the season was overshadowed with Kimbo possibly returning. So it was kind of, I understood, from a marketing perspective, because I have an advertising background. I understand that. But, you just know that this guy isn't what he was built out to be. And, I would have loved to see them, instead of after a Houston-Alexander match, or whenever it was he was let go, I would have loved to see that rematch. Just put it up there. I don't know if Seth would, he comes in, he smashes the guy for the second time in a row. I don't know if that, elevates his career any, but I'm sure it would fill his pocket.
The UFC, if they tried to make that fight, I believe that they would have got a lot of shit from, the fans from the underground, the guys who just have nothing better to do than, fuck with Dana White and stuff like that,
And I think it would have hurt Seth's credibility a little bit, because then people would have been saying, they're just signing him. Yeah, they're just signing him to fight Kimbo, and he's a Kimbo killer, and that's it. So I'm kind of glad on that behalf that they didn't sign him to fight him. Let him go ahead and reestablish himself, inside the UFC on his own terms. So.
Yeah, exactly. When I had interviewed Seth in the past, it was right before his last fight in England, before he had moved on, or where he got re-signed to the UFC. Right? And he got the job done. Basically he told me that he wasn't in fact in contact with Joe Silva, because even back then I'm like, Joe, why aren't you with the UFC right now? He was in contact with Joe Silva, and at that point even, and that's why I asked about the Kimbo being released question. Mm-hmm. Joe Silva had told Seth that he's a couple wins away from being entered. Not one, not after Kimbo lost to Mitrione, but right after that, right after Kimbo lost, he was signed immediately. It wasn't a couple fights. It was one fight he had over in England, where he demolished an English fighter with an armbar in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so that business is definitely there. Although, like, at the same time, Seth Petruzelli really deserves to be in the UFC.
Right. And as hot as Kimbo was, I mean, who's really going? I mean, I know the marketing potential, but who's really going to put their eggs in that basket? He folded one promotion and was, used up like a government mule and released from another. So, I'm looking at that and I'm not too sure if I'm Strikeforce or any other organization that I sign him. But, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll hopefully see Seth in the cage soon. Hopefully he'll have enough time to heal, and we'll get the best Seth that we've seen today. So, good stuff, though. Very good stuff.
Absolutely. What I'm curious about, though, is what's next for Kimbo Slice. Right now, I think he's on a couch smoking the fattest blunt doobie you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, and probably counting the money that he made in that short period of time as well. I mean, he was on commercials, and he was doing everything during that, 4 or 5 years that he was doing his thing. If I was in his shoes and, I can't get into Strikeforce or choose not to, I would go to Vince McMahon in the WWE or Dixie Carter in TNA, and I would become a professional wrestler because I'm sure he can get guaranteed millions easily playing the bad boy professional wrestling. So, if you can't be a fighter, you might as well play one on TV.
That's very good point. You know what I think he should have done, though? I think he should have entered that Bellator heavyweight tournament in season 3.
I don't know if he...
Cole Conrad would have kicked his ass. Cole Conrad, which is a main training partner to Brock Lesnar, a Division I national champion in heavyweight wrestling in college. There's a guy that Kimbo would not like to step in front of.
No, he's not doing. No. Let's retire that right now. But I want to talk about the potential. I was going to write an article on this on our site, HTRMMA.com. What the frick is next for Johnny Bones Jones? Talked all about the card, but we didn't really touch on the main event, or at least not while I was on the air. Johnny Bones.
Absolutely.
Were you impressed or disappointed?
I was amazed, for sure. But I knew he had it. But what I was more amazed about is how Dana White somehow thinks he's in the top 8. As long as you don't put that guy against a strong jiu-jitsu guy, that guy will beat everyone, I think, in that division. I think he will. Any strong wrestler, anything like that, as long as he doesn't get caught in a submission, which he admitted last night, submissions or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or just submissions in general were his weak point. I think that's the only way I see that guy losing. That guy's amazing. I want to see him choking right now, as a matter of fact.
One matchup that I would like to see, James Ryan wrote an article on HTRMMA.com about Rampage Jackson not wanting to fight, rather looking to the movies, which is fine. If, that's what he wants to do, whatever. I've got a whole, other bag of frustration with that. But if he doesn't want to fight Machida, I want to see these two because they've got, they both have their unique styles, and I want to see if Jones mentally could conquer, although it's been exposed a bit with Shogun. I would like to see if he's able to conquer such a methodical fighter like Machida. So that's a test I'd like to see him go up against. We're out of time here, RJ. Another great week. You have no idea who will be dropping by each and every week on MMA Insight. We will see you on HTRMMA.com. Read the articles, interviews, exclusives, and more. And then we'll see you right back here next Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Good night.
Holla back, son.